Welcome back to the CJC's Training and Technical Assistance series to help subrecipients navigate the new grants management system. This video will take you through the steps to submit fiscal and inventory reports in the CJC's new grants management system. A PDF step-by-step guide is also available for download. This video is designed for key fiscal staff and any other individuals who are responsible for contributing to or submitting fiscal or inventory reports at your agency. Feel free to pause, rewind, or fast forward to get straight to the information most relevant to you. First, we will go through how to submit a fiscal report. Here's a quick reminder about due dates. Project periods that end December 31st have a quarterly report due date of January 20th. Quarters that end March 31st have a quarterly report due date of April 20th. Quarters ending June 30th have a quarterly report due date of July 20th. And quarters ending September 30th have a quarterly report due date of October 20th. Once you have at least one active project, your homepage becomes an important hub of information. The new system contains a whole section of action items. Whether you are a program or fiscal contact, the quickest way to access an upcoming quarterly report is to select the Program and Fiscal Reports button under Action Items. If you want a more complete picture of the reports associated with your award, you can scroll down. In the All Records section, you'll see that you can click to view all reports. The complete list of reports due for your grant programs appears here. This is an example of a newly awarded grant. It's the subrecipients only project. You can see the tabs indicating reports that require your attention. In this example, it's 0. But you can also see how many are scheduled. In this example, it's 9 reports. There are 4 program reports, 4 fiscal reports, and an inventory report. The status column will tell you which reports are currently under review and which fiscal reports are paid. If your agency typically manages multiple awards, you will notice that you can sort by any of these columns. This feature is handy if you wish to list reports by their due date or report status. Back on your homepage, click in the Action Items section to begin your first fiscal report. A list of reports that you are responsible for completing will display in a list. Bear in mind that financial roles only see fiscal reports. In this example, a fiscal report is overdue. It is in draft status, meaning that additional information is required before submission. The system also shows the due date and if the report is considered overdue. Once you select the fiscal report, instructions appear in the blue box at the top of the page. The instructions provide high-level tips on how to successfully submit a report. You can preview the fiscal report as a PDF to print it out, where you can make notes or provide it to a colleague to help filling in the numbers. You can view the associated program report for the quarter. In this example, the program report is still in draft and has yet to be completed. Once it is completed, the status will update and financial staff can view the report associated with the quarter that they are reporting fiscal data on. You can also access the inventory report for your grant. This will only appear if you have equipment items approved within your budget. As you scroll down further on the page, the fiscal report will indicate if a partial payment is allowed. An example of when a partial payment is allowed could be that the grant is ending sooner than you expected, so you're completing the report before the end of a quarter. Please note that partial payments are not the same as monthly reimbursements. After the first quarter, all fiscal reports will require a confirmation that your previous payment was received. Please ensure that this information is accurate. If your agency's payment was not received, this will alert the grant monitor to inquire about the delay in your payment. Still within the fiscal report, you will see a button to add expenditures. Clicking the button will open a separate window where you can then add expenses for each line item. After clicking the button to add expenditures, you will see your grant-specific budget line items. Enter the spending where it is indicated for the quarter. You will also see cumulative totals. In this example, the report shows 2 positions under personnel. Add your payroll expenses in the column that says expenditures this period. If your grant carries a match requirement, match costs can be reported in the same way that federal or state grant expenditures are. In this example, under travel, both federal and match dollars are allocated. Report on the grant funds in the expenditures this period column, and add match dollars in the match expenditures this period column. Once you have added all expenses for the reporting period, click Save. Toward the bottom of the report, you will see summary tables that show overall progress toward spending. The expenditures this reporting period column reflects the expenditures that you just entered. The cumulative expenditures column is all zeros in this example because it shows cumulative expenditures reported prior to this quarter, and this is a first quarter report. Then, notice that after you clicked Save, the total expenditures, the balance, and the percent spent columns automatically update. This table is a great planning tool to tell you if your spending is on track at the 25%, 50%, and 75% mark. You can also tell at a glance which categories are carrying a significant balance to guide any spending plans that you need to develop later on in the subgrant. Notice that the summary table area displays a separate match table. If your subgrant does not include match, this table is omitted from your view. In this example, we see that no match was reported as spent in the first quarter. A possible explanation for this could be that maybe the position being used as match isn't hired yet. Further down on the page, we see that the system allows financial users to attach supporting fiscal documentation. This is a great way to make your fiscal monitoring visits easier by providing appropriate documentation ahead of time. Monitors review the information and can follow up prior to or even during your next fiscal monitoring visit to seek clarification where needed. Once all sections are complete, click Submit Fiscal Report. Now, we just want you to know that monitors typically carry caseloads of between 20 and 50 or more subgrant programs. So it all depends on the type of project and how much time and attention different agencies and programs require. So once you submit your report, your monitor receives and reviews it. We really try and approve reports as soon as we can, but sometimes we may need to send a report back if we need additional information or clarification. Although you won't receive a notification when your report is approved, you will receive an email notification if revisions are requested, which is what the icons here signify. The email to notify you that your report is returned looks something like this. Notice that the notification includes basic information about why the report is being returned for revision. In this example, we see that the expenditures reported for equipment do not match the supporting documentation that was provided. The email directs you to log in to make the requested changes. Please get into the system as soon as you are able to make the changes before the due date. Once you log in and click the button to access your fiscal reports, you'll see that the status shows as Revision Requested. Go ahead and click to open it. You'll see the same revision request comments shown in the main page of the fiscal report as you saw in the email. If this is not enough information or if it's confusing, please alert your monitor so that you're not left guessing about what they meant. Going back to our example, once returned, you would click to add expenditures, and then you would update the dollar amount if needed, And then you can attach the invoice that matches your expenditures to the backup documentation. Then click Submit Fiscal Report again, and your monitor will be notified that it is ready for their review and approval. At any point, if you have any questions about fiscal reporting, please reach out to us for assistance. If you're wondering when your agency will receive payment, be aware that monitors must approve both the fiscal and the program quarterly reports before we have the option to submit for a payment. Then there's a button in the system for us to automatically request your payment. This sends a notification to our fiscal team in the system. Once Fiscal receives that notification, they take the appropriate documentation and process the payment through the State of Delaware's First State Financial System, or FSF. And that's it for fiscal reports. We're going to move right into submitting an inventory report. And remember, the option to complete an inventory report is only available on projects that were approved for equipment purchase when your application was submitted and awarded. During the completion of a fiscal report, if you recorded any purchased equipment, a reminder will show on the page to complete part of an inventory report. From your fiscal report main page, you can access the inventory report by clicking the button to open activity. The inventory report can also be accessed on your homepage upon logging into the Grants Management System. This will be in the Action Items section. Click on Inventory Reports. After opening the report, there will be instructions available to guide you through the process. As stated in the report, please add equipment details as soon as items are received. Please do not wait until the end of the project. This is very important for monitoring purposes. This is what an initial inventory report looks like. Click the plus sign to add purchased equipment. You have the option to enter an inventory report for a single item or multiple items at one time. Use the option that makes the most sense for your project and your budgeted items. The system makes it pretty easy for you. It loads the list directly from your project budget, so you select the item and then you provide a brief description. Next, enter the cost of the item. This should match your final invoice, so be sure to include any applicable fees or shipping costs associated with your equipment purchase. Add the date that your agency received the equipment in hand, and include the serial number. If there is no serial number, please indicate how your agency identifies the piece of equipment using your internal tracking system. Check the box to confirm that you have adequately labeled and tagged your equipment with the grant ID. Contact your monitor if you're unsure about how to tag an item. And then snap a photo of it and upload it for the report. Scrolling further down, enter the location where the equipment is being used. If the equipment is being placed in a mobile location, such as a squad car, you can add the squad car number or identifier and the station where the officer reports to. Check the appropriate radio button to include whether the equipment will be used in a continuation subgrant with the CJC after your current project ends, or select Other if no continuation funding is lined up. If you select Other, the system requires some clarification. So please verify how the equipment will be used for the purposes of the grant, even if the grant funds have run out. For example, you might indicate that you received one-time funding for a specific piece of equipment that will continue being used by that unit or that program staff beyond the current grant end date. Lastly, click the button to add equipment. Once added, your equipment budget will reflect new totals. The system auto-calculates what is submitted for the equipment you just entered, and it provides what has been reported to date in the bottom area. This inventory report is easy because there was one piece of equipment in the budget. If your agency has multiple pieces, you may need to enter additional inventory reports. A very important point on inventory reports. Please do not click the submit button unless all of your equipment is purchased and you have reported it appropriately. This means that if you have more than one piece of equipment to report, click the Save Draft button, and then you're good to go. Just wait until all of your equipment is reported until you submit. Now, if you have purchased all the equipment, like in this example, go ahead and click Submit. Again, please make sure that all of your equipment is purchased and in hand before you click that Submit Inventory Report button. In the future, if you would like to view any of the submitted reports for your agency, including inventory reports, navigate to the Grants Management System homepage and click on View All Reports. In this example, we see that the test user is a program or fiscal agent for 3 different subgrants. When these screenshots were taken in June of 2026, the test reports were considered overdue since the due dates of the reports had passed, one by several months. Once each of these reports are submitted, they would then be moved into the Under Review section, and then into the Complete/Paid section after the monitor reviews and approves them. The last point of interest on this page is that it's important to note that just because a report is listed in the Attention Required section, it doesn't mean that it's overdue. However, inventory reports will appear in this section until they are submitted. The system doesn't want you to forget about it. They will appear in draft status at the very start of the project, and then you submit them when you're ready. The Scheduled section includes a full list of all future reports required for each subgrant project. You do not need to take any action on future reports. Reports will remain scheduled until the system moves them to the Attention Required section closer to the report due date. It's also important to note that the system will not allow you to submit a report for your second quarter of activity until the report for your first quarter is submitted and approved. So if you have a backdated award and you are catching up on reports, this may affect your reporting schedule. Just reach out to your monitor if you're having any difficulty. Reports remain under review until both fiscal and program reports for the same quarter are approved and processed. In the example on screen, you can see that your fiscal report is submitted and approved, but the system requires both reports to be submitted and approved prior to a payment being triggered. In the Complete/Paid section, you can view the quarters where both reports are completed, approved, and paid. The system automatically moves quarterly report sets that are approved. You can see in this example that both the program and fiscal report are approved for AR 25-138 test project. You might see payment requested in your status column, but you'll know that your payment is on the way when you see the payment request processed. That means that your monitor has approved both reports and our fiscal department is working on your payment. That's it for fiscal and inventory reports. If you are experiencing trouble submitting a report, please contact your monitor. You can also use our general help email at cjc_grant_support@delaware.gov. Thank you for joining us. We hope that you will reach out to us if you have any questions.